132 of the Jules Fleischman Happy Hour podcast.
Hello, Jules.
Hello. Thanks for having me back.
We are drinking carbless today. A customer and a client of Drexel out on the eastern side of Wisconsin.
Yeah,
it actually says it's canned in Des Moines, but we all know that the roots are from New Holstein High School.
New Holstein, blood orange.
So we're keeping it local.
For sure. Well, thanks for having me back, Joel. We are going to do a little Ask Joel Anything, put him in the hot seat, get in his head, all the things, right? I kind of asked some of our downtown team members if they had some questions to submit too, so we got some fun ones to work with, but I would like to start with team member happiness. We just launched our Pulse survey today, so if you're not familiar with that, that is a quick, short, 3 to 5 question survey, kind of checking in our team members, how we doing, from the action we took on the last survey, what do we need to do now? And you had brought up culture is you. And I think people can define culture in many different ways, Google search it and what have you, but I was wondering if you could just unpack that for us a little bit. The culture is you. What does that really mean?
Ultimately, we can call Drexel culture whatever we want, and we can act like however we want.
Yeah.
I'll even go further. It's like people can say they love you, but action speaks volumes. So, right, marital status, love you, love you, love you, love you. Are you doing anything to show those traits? So I think saying Drexel has a great culture because we wear blue shirts and we have a logo and core values are posted in our stores and we do social media posts. It really doesn't really matter at all. It comes down to the department that you work in, who your leader is, and those around you. So it's like little homes, right? You can say this is a great community to live in, but if your home, which is your little work environment, has an abusive father and a drug-addicted mother, your little community is not so wonderful.
Yeah, that's your experience, right?
Yeah, that's your experience. The culture is your experience. So it's 800 people's responsibility to hold the culture, which I think some people still are a participant and kind of sitting at Lambeau Field watching the company unfold instead of understanding that we're all playing the game. Yeah,
which is why it's important for you to share your feedback when we're doing these surveys and that we can continue to share what we're doing about it and taking action on that. Like you said, that action piece is so important. So.
Right, and it's really just taking a perspective of your own job and your own situation of saying, how can I help culture?
Yeah.
How can I give my leader real honest feedback? And if that doesn't work, can I give the leader's real honest feedback? Can I call Joel?
Yes.
How intimidating is Joel to me? And hopefully not at all. But today I ran into Paul, a new guy. Shout out to Paul if you're listening. And I don't get that too often, but I felt like a mini celebrity, right? He's like, are you Joel? Like I was just walking the yard and I'm like, yes, sir. Right. And somebody called me sir too. I'm Sir and Mr. Fleischman this week, and I'm like Joel, and please don't sir me up. So.
That's a good example though, right?
Yeah,
for sure. Cool. So I guess another thing team members want to know is vision, right? You speak a lot to that. You're very open and transparent about that. You speak to it at leadership development and development days. What would you say kind of is your vision? Let's go maybe 5 years down the road for Drexel.
I always go back to our commitments because that's about as far as we can go, and that brings us to path. I hope in 5 years we are developing people better. We're finding people that really love their passion, have a passion for what they do, and have a talent for what they do, and I hope we're developing them on a much higher level than we are now. I hope we are supporting the local builder. I hope we're known for this really wonderful level of project management and services and products, but at a price that is at our competition's cost. I think that is such a game changer. And then truly we're just helping the local builder. And then our third commitment, I do hope that everybody here gets paid a lot of money. I hope everybody through our ESOPs becomes rich. Like that's a real goal. That's not a bad thing. So I hope everyone's getting richer. I hope we are putting money back into our company like crazy. And I so hope that we're still doing Jesus' work here on earth. So that's as far as I can tell you, Jules.
No, I like that. And it's, again, like it's something we can all grasp onto, three things, and that we can still connect with and stay aligned with.
Yeah, and for all the 800 team members, how do you reduce the price to the local builder if you are in finance? And Andy speaks to that. How can you do your job with less people? And again, that doesn't mean work 1 million hours a week or, run your fingers off on the keyboard. It just, how can we invent things that as we grow we don't have? And it's not about getting rid of people. It's about as we grow, how do we not need more people?
Yep, for sure. Well, in talking about focus, you had just shared, Project Breathe, right? That's kind of fresh off the press, and I think it's speaking to a lot of team members. That this really hit at the right time. So how did it come up for you? I know, again, you do have a pulse on things here. Like, how did that come up for you? I know we have these 3 big things that you spoke to too.
I think I really was either at home or in the car, and then, it always comes in the whispers. We've talked about that before on the podcast too. Is that the silence of nature and God, and I try to do a lot of outside thinking, but it really came up slowly, which is usually the Holy Spirit. It's just in whispers of just. I think at one point I was like.
Yeah.
And I try to take deep breaths, and I've been encouraging team members to do it, and they have a really hard time even doing it. Yeah. Shout out to Sam Lemler today. I had to Sam, you can take a deep breath. It's okay. And when you do that, you're like, and then I kind of, a lot of times when I have an idea, I'll test pilot it. Okay. So I ran it by 2 or 3 people, and they lit up like a Christmas tree. And I'm like, oh, this is definitely needed. Definitely needed for sure.
Right where it hits. Yeah, for sure. So as a team,
I bet 99% of my ideas do not come in the workplace.
Yeah.
Weird.
Get outside of it, for sure. And then again, that power of the pause and just saying okay, let's think about that. So, and you spoke to the ERP coming, right? And then a ton of growth, and then Kewaskum, right? So I guess hitting on the growth, I think a lot of team members think wow, we are growing fast, and we're doing a lot of expansion, we got a lot of projects going on and all that. How do you think we can kind of, as a team member, let's again just talk to the team member, how can they kind of work through some of those growing pains and kind of work through staying small or thinking small even though we're getting bigger? Well,
and I really think people have to remember, and again, they don't know Joel that well maybe, I think we're growing extremely slow. I'm super frustrated.
So that's the perception, right? Yeah.
Kind of. And we've always grown since I've been in business. People are like, oh, we're growing really fast now. And I just laugh. I've heard that all 30 years I've worked here. And it's really funny about growth is oh, we should have just stopped and we hired you, Jules. When should we stop the growth? Oh, no, not you. Oh, 2 people after you. Or 3 people after you. And again, back to the commitment. So should you just tell local builders that are out there that need our services that we should be no, we're good. And also don't forget that lowering the price demands a volume. And vertical integration and buying factory direct demands a certain volume to sustain that. So getting better, getting bigger. We don't get bigger to get bigger. We get bigger to get better. But to speak to how can people understand that and what they can do, I go back to Bill Belichick and the Patriots when they were at their highlight. They had signage. The only signage they had, I suppose, in their facilities over and over was just do your job. All you can do is control. You can control and simply do your job to the best of your ability. I'm not certain why somebody on second shift in Amherst would be worrying about a downtown building. Or somebody that is a quarterback in Campbellsport is concerned about the pre-finishing in Jackson. Apples and oranges, all one community. It comes down to trust, which does come. Trust a lot of times is built up on communication. So that's, again, your job, Jules, my job, to communicate those visions so people aren't scared of growth.
Yep. No, that's good. And I think, too, it's just being able to repeat it, right? You say learning and teaching without comprehension is silent chaos, and we don't want that for you. We don't want that for the builder, for the
and
team
say
member.
That again slowly.
Yes, learning and teaching without comprehension is silent chaos.
I could put that on my forehead as a tattoo.
It is.
I have plenty of room.
It really is. And what they have to hear? Nice. They have to hear that 7 times for it to stick.
Yeah,
right?
One of my favorite sayings is, the first time your team has heard it from you is when they all roll their eyes. That's the first time they heard it.
Yes.
So you haven't connected with them until they're really? We're doing this again? Yep. That's the first time they heard it. So retention takes 7 times. And people learn in different ways. So that's why we post on, not everyone relates. Well, I don't relate to communities, but some people do.
Yes.
Why we do podcasts, because some people do.
Yes.
Why we do, in tacticals, verbal, because some people do.
Yeah, verbal, listening, however you need to hear it. So we're going to keep repeating it. Can you give us an update on the Drexel campus? We've been referring to it looks like a campus down here, right? And it's growing and such. Any updates there and vision-wise? I know we have Mandy that just started as well.
Yeah, so we have Mandy as a property manager. So she's out being proactive with our properties, renting out properties. Important to rent out our properties out that aren't being fully utilized. Again, that brings our cost and maximizes our profits. So if we can discount rent off some of the properties, it helps everything. But also she's working very well. So we have loosely associated, like sisters, is our J. Fleischman Solutions Company, so Kissing Cousins, that Mandy manages. And just within that, in our little downtown Campbellsport, we have Heather Ford. Shout out to Heather. She's relaunching the Crave building as Pan and Parlor, opening in June. And we'll be doing the refront of that as we are the landowners of that. Further down the street in 2026, we hope to open a steak joint called Bauer Hotel. And then we're planning a speakeasy right now.
Okay.
And we haven't closed on that property yet, but right next door we'd actually be doing a speakeasy. So if you know what a speakeasy is, go ahead, Google it, ChatGPT it, details to follow. First time I'm really saying this out to the public, if you will, and I know this only goes to about 6 people, so YOLO. We own property along the Eisenbahn, and we've done research and development projects to help the local builder and to timestamp different labor situations, understand products, bring in new products, and research and develop them through projects without launching them, without really having any in tune if they work or not. So we plan on building townhouses there.
Okay.
Possibly rent to own, more condo style. Think 2-story. Think residential looking, not apartment looking. Not there's anything wrong with apartment looking, but like a softer feel for the Main Street area. That we're in very, very preliminary plans for that for 2027.
Okay, very good. That's a great update. Thank you.
Jules is like, oh, okay.
Add that.
We got a nugget there.
Yep, exactly. Cool. Let's talk about our Ready, Fire, Aim. We've brought this up before, right? And, I think with speaking to how much movement there is, change is all the core values, only constant around here, right? Can you give me an example of maybe like when we have done that when it hasn't really stuck or not gone our way?
Yeah, well, lots. I mean, again, 30 years of constant growth and constant change. And looking back, things didn't stick because we either didn't have the why behind it, but more likely the training behind it. It was all tribal knowledge.
Yeah.
So I would have trained, or 3 people would have developed a system and a process. And one took a job within a different company.
Sure.
One took a job within a company, and then the person that was left didn't do a good job of training, and then it just wandered.
Yeah.
And then it just got forgotten about because it was tribal knowledge, and it wasn't a process, and it wasn't a procedure. And I was never big on SOPs or boot camps or formal training, and now I'm so obsessed with it. And that's really the reason behind it. We didn't do a good job of training to the process and procedure, and more importantly, the why behind it. And then it didn't become cultural, and it didn't become a part of our company. It was a temporary fix. In 3 years, we were right back to where we were.
Yeah.
Band-Aid, and you're like, and then somebody like myself would jump in and be like, are we doing all these things? They're like, I don't know what you're talking about. So it's like a game of telephone tag. The person to the person to the person, and never got transmitted.
Yeah, for sure. And
somebody on that team, honestly, was maybe not a great cultural fit and bashed that system without a solution. And they just said, okay, well, if it's not going to work, we're going to get away from it.
Sure, and that's been our focus with operational excellence. Trainability, repeatability, scalability.
And that actually makes your life easier, too.
Yeah.
Right? You think that's making everything robotic? No, it makes life easier so you do have time to think.
Yeah.
I don't want to think, we've talked about that before, too. I don't want to think where my car keys are. Like without a process and procedure and something that's trained to excellence, it is similar to coming home every single day and just chucking your car keys wherever.
Yep.
Like, that's not cool to me at all. I don't have any joy in that. So same thing at the company. Like, everyone finds this file here. Everyone does this step, just so you know. So you do have time to goof off and think and develop and enjoy your job more. Not, I'm under so much stress, I can't find this file. Where do we store it?
Yeah, I actually read a book, Chillpreneur, and it talked about keyless entry of how much easier would it be for yourself if you had a charger in every room, or you had, so you never had to go looking for it. You know exactly where to find it. You have it in that spot, and it's.
So then why don't you do that, right? Like, then do it.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a really good
I've really
example.
taken a lot of stuff at my house and done that. Like, that's always right here.
Yes. Yeah. No, that's good. I love the progress.
My family plays with me, and they
do
do things. Yeah. They don't love how anal I am at all.
Oh, too fun. Cool. Let's talk about What currently, I know I've asked you some of this stuff before, but different season, different time.
Yeah, for sure.
What's currently keeping you up at night, and what's currently getting you out of bed?
Like I've talked before, getting him out at night, that doesn't happen. I don't lose sleep. What am I concerned about? Let's go back to that one. I just don't concern myself with a lot of things that maybe even I should.
Sometimes that's actually a good thing.
It's probably a strength of mine, but maybe a weakness. I don't think about the black swan occurrences very often. Always with as many people as you brought in as growth is that we can, not that we can handle it, that the market will continue to be strong.
Yeah.
So we're always looking at that key indicator in the market, and the tariffs and the media. And as much change as Trump is doing, change is always confusing to people, and it sometimes scares the building consumer. So I guess maybe that would be concerning at some level. And then what gets me out of bed at night? Man, the spring weather. I mean, I'll go a little like on non-business, a little Joel deep. And we've talked about this before with my skull and my obsession with death. Yeah. And just averages. So I'm 51. And thinking about how many more winters to spring. We all do. Yep. Winters to spring. How many more times am I going to see the trees bud? And trees only bud out for like a week, right? It's like a few days at most. And we're going through that right now. Like maybe in a day that'll be done. Yep. If I'm lucky, on average, I might have 20 more of them left. I might have 0. My clock might already be at 0. At the very best, let's say I'm healthy at 100. Which would be insane. I don't anticipate that. I would still only have 50 left. Wow. So that's it. Not one more. But more likely, I have 20 left. Yeah. But also, in the same breath, I might have 0 left. So just really, really trying to enjoy spring because it is an amazing time of year.
It is.
And I do think it's a God thing. Like God's just telling you, like, there's always hope. So many of us in the back of our head need hope. Because we're all just trying to get to heaven, and he does it on purpose to kind of yearn for heaven. So we all have something in our deepest corners that we wish was different, whatever that is. Loss of a loved one, marital issues, health issues, whatever, financial issues, whatever that is, it's the hope, and spring hope's eternal.
It does, and it's a different kind of energy. You can feel it, like it's going to impact you personally and professionally. The sun's shining, where the orders are coming out.
And then in our industry, we're also a cyclical, seasonal company where spring is better for us. So that's also it. Vivaldi, right? Spring Vivaldi. Oh yeah. In college, I had a CD, and I've always played Vivaldi. So if you're listening, go and go on Spotify,
look that up,
and look on Vivaldi. And he did he was a orchestra, right? Or way back in the day, and he had all 4 seasons. Okay. And one was spring, and when you hear it, you'll know it. When you know it, you'll hear it, right?
For sure. That's great.
Have we played? You know what I'm talking about or not?
I haven't. No.
Oh, really? Okay.
No, I haven't. So
okay, ask me a question. See if I can maybe I'll YouTube it and see if I can put it on the microphone.
Yeah. See. Another thing, just to see where you're at currently. What are you currently reading or learning? I know you always got a book in hand or something that you are consuming.
Yes. Right now, I have shout out to Nick Whitty. Okay. I have a bee farm.
A bee farm.
So I just started a bee farm.
Okay.
We have 2 colonies and 2 queen bees. One is the Queen of Hearts, one is the Queen of Clubs. That's what I named them.
Great.
And I'm learning all about bees. So listen to the Joe Rogan podcast. I had a beekeeper on. I'm reading a bee book. And just about daily, I go check on my 6,000 bees on the farm. So they are doing great. Not when I look at them daily, but Nick and I check on about every 2 weeks. Okay. And then you have the smoker. You're suited up. You're taking the racks apart. I mean, it's crazy. Bees are crazy. Obviously, a lot of people know that, but yeah. And then they're doing really good. They're making eggs, which is good, which means the queen has been bred. They're doing their thing. They're actually making honey already, which they'll consume. Okay. So the first couple of months of this, they're bringing in pollen. Dandelions were great in the area, so they bring that in, and they're making nectar, pollen. They're making babies. They're storing honey for themselves, and if that all goes good for the next 30, 60 days, they'll start storing extra honey, which then goes to the humans. Wow. So it's going good. So bees right now.
That's great. Is chickens after
That's
that?
That's funny. I've had chickens growing up. I've had, when I was younger, my first job was raising rabbits.
Okay.
So I raised Dutch rabbits. And so Yeah, I enjoy. I've raised ducks.
That's
so
really cool.
Bees are my latest and greatest.
That's great. I have to learn
St.
more about
Ambrose Bee Farm.
Okay.
So
Shout out.
Yeah, St. Ambrose is the patron saint of honey workers and honey, which is funny that the Catholic Church is funny that there needs to be a saint for every small particular thing.
Yes, I've learned that too.
Yeah, interesting.
Anything I learn about bees and insects comes from my 7-year-old, so now I'm inspired. I'll have to
Oh,
dig in
yeah, if he wants a
more.
tour, we'd love to give him a tour.
Yeah, that's great. Love that.
Yeah.
Cool. Let's see what else we got here. What are you currently loving? Something that you're loving. Okay, so that's something you're learning. Tell me something that you're loving, personal, professional.
Right. Professional right now, what I'm consumed with
Yes.
is launching our exterior door pre-finish program. If you looked at my desk right now, I got samples from Anderson Windows, Wadena, Therma-Tru, Western, their exterior samples, studying it, ChatGPTing it, understanding it, talk to the people at our Superfici that are there from Superfici in Ireland. Italy, I'm sorry. Superfici does not sound Irish. And talked to Brady McMahon, shout out to him yesterday about doing this and launching that. As soon as the factory opens, absolute game changer. Builders are going to be able to pay a pre-finished price on a really, really quality pre-finished exterior door for the same as they're pricing buying primed right now. It's a huge project. Super excited, game changer.
And that's the new robotics, correct?
This piece of machinery is the quality that comes out of that from the paint side and the stain side is the same as a high-end cabinet maker.
Wow.
Yeah, very, very cool.
So cool.
1 or 2 in all of the world.
This one came from Jake. Yeah, he wants to know if you had an opportunity to work at any other company.
Shout out to Jake.
Jake, thank you. Amazon, Apple, Tesla, Google, local diner, maybe Mercury Marine. What company would you choose, and what would you want to get out of it?
I think at this point, and I'll use the word employee, I think I would be the world's worst employee. I just don't know if I'd comply. Things I dream about doing, I think it'd be really fun to be a worker at a flower shop. I think it'd be fun to work at a bakery. I think a flower shop's cool because people are celebrating things and their flowers. A bakery would be cool, I think, in some ways. I always say bartender, but it'd have to be like that 3 to 6 p.m. shift.
The pre-happy hour.
Like the pre-happy hour privileged crowd. And then a couple other jobs that have always intrigued me. How am I not thinking of some of the ones that I always think about? I think about a lot of them. Yeah. Something simple and different. Something that can help people. I have an English degree. I've always told people that someday I'll work at a library.
Oh, yeah.
I find such a serenity at a library.
Yes.
So I can see myself. A lot of peace. Yeah. Maybe doing that, but I think it'd probably drive me crazy after a couple of days. Anything I can help people. I've always, thought somewhat of being a deacon in the church. But that's a very, very big commitment. So that's something I pray on. So I'm not sure. That's my path. Yeah. I've actually thought about like the doggy daycares, like a play and stay. I'm like, how great would that be just to, get all the love from the dogs and then. I worry about the homeowners though. Dog people are. Yeah, that's true. That's a good. I was watching the video and that didn't go so good. Yep. Yeah. That's valid. Okay, next would be the coffee shop. Coffee all the time, good connection, right? All right. This seemed fun, I agree. Yes, for sure. This came from Marcus, if you could hire one professional or college coach, alive or dead, that really opens it up, to work at Drexel, who would it be and what role in the organization would they have? John Wooden was a really, really cool guy, UCLA, 9 or 11 championships. His book's great. The way he went about life is really good. He's always swept his own gym and just had really good culture, good mindset. Bill Walton was his best player, maybe his best player ever. Gotten up on the bus. John had a thing where he couldn't wear beards, and he's like, "It's okay. Your beard looks great. You just can't play tonight or ride the bus. So you're gonna have to get off or shave." And so just mindset that way. John Wooden spoke to me quite a bit. Yeah. One of the cool stories about his life that I always liked, and just finding true love is a unique thing, that supposedly after his wife passed away, and if you read John's book, you would kind of believe that he never slept on that side of the bed. That's kind of cool. So especially as a high-end profile guy, right?
Yeah. Is that Wooden on Leadership? Is that
Yeah,
his?
Wooden on Leadership. Yeah, please go read Wooden on Leadership. If you're looking for a leadership book, very good leadership book. It really is, yeah.
That's awesome. Let's go.
I forget about that one a lot. That's a very good one.
I have it actually on my shelf, and I don't know if I've read it all the way through. I actually lended it to my sister-in-law, who's a big reader, and then she just gave it back to me, so now.
Yeah, it reminds me a little bit of Dale Carnegie books. They're just old school written.
Yeah.
So you kind of slog a little bit through it, but enough stories there to keep you in tune.
Yeah, and his Pyramid of Success, too.
Yep, you're staying up in my office, the Pyramid of Success, yeah.
So good. You can learn a lot from those sports world. All right, how about some quick fire? So this one will be, I'm just going to say a word or a phrase, and you give me a quick one word or couple word answers, okay?
Yep.
What comes to mind when I say building supply industry in one word?
Old.
Drexel's superpower.
Love.
Your leadership style in 3 words or less.
Crazy.
Favorite part of your workday?
Coffee.
A must-have quality in a Drexel team member.
What?
A must-have quality in a Drexel team member.
Don't take themselves too seriously.
Your go-to stress reliever.
Coffee. I'm just kidding.
Cheers.
Napping. Probably napping.
Yeah.
Silence.
Napping or fishing.
Outside.
Yeah. I guess you already answered this. I was going to ask you one book every leader should read, or maybe just one book everyone should read.
I do think I'll just stay with the Bible is very, very complicated and hard to read and can be wildly confusing. What's helped me the most is a very good book. They took like a decade to read.
Okay.
A decade to write. It will not take you a decade to read, I promise. It's called Soul on Fire.
Okay.
And it gives you about 3 pages of the Bible. It's the Gospels. Read the Gospels first. They've done different series on the Acts of the Apostles and other ones. The Soul on Fire one is great. You can read it. It's about 3 pages of the Bible, and then it gives you context. It tells you about the author.
That's helpful.
It tells you the reasoning behind it. It tells you why those 3 pages were written, and then it gives you some things to consider and pray on or meditate on, and then you inch along forward. So there's so many things I didn't know about Matthew or any of the apostles, and it gives you a really, really good perspective. Really good perspective.
That's great.
Highly recommend that book.
It's nice to kind of break it down.
Why do I not think it's called Soul on Fire now? But I'm going to just look it up real quick.
Yeah, for sure. I've done like the one a day for 365 days. I'm like, just break it up for me,
Yeah,
So.
yeah. And even that, I've done some of that. I just felt like this was so much better.
Yeah. That's great.
That it was the best that's been done out there for sure, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yep, it's the Word on Fire. The Word on Fire Bible.
Okay.
Yep, available on Amazon. It's got a black cover. It's pretty cool.
Cool, thank you for sharing that. How about Wisconsin's best kept secret, non-Drexel related?
Well, it wouldn't be a secret, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly.
Like
I know,
joke.
we're pretty open about that.
Best kept secret in our area, I'll just focus on the Kettle Moraine.
Yep.
You know what? The best kept secret is there's places within 3 miles of wherever you live in the world that are amazing that you haven't explored yet. I don't care where it is. There's a dive bar.
Yep.
There's a restaurant. There's a walking trail. There's a portion of a trail. There's a sunset to see. Don't search so far. That's a home is vacations are an illusion. I want my vacations to feel like home. I want home to feel like a vacation.
Yeah, that's like the Hollis, Dave Hollis, he used to have like the deck of delight or patio of peace, and I was like, yeah, like it's not far away. You can create those spaces or ask
find
around.
them or find them.
Yeah, and find them.
Yeah.
I feel like even with kids sometimes, through their eyes, it's like, oh, the simplicity of like a park or a trail.
Yeah, it's one of the beauties of kids. My dad taught me that. He said, when he was a granddad giving me fatherly advice, he said, your kids don't care about vacations. They just want to be with you.
Yep.
Home is a vacation. Vacation is home.
Yep.
If you can create that feel, man, you can just explore things just a few miles from your house. I've been on a lot of ice age trails. I love being outside, and I still stumble on ice age trails or parts of lakes that I've never, ever experienced. Wild, right?
Yeah, and even when you're just like awake to your senses and just like present where your feet are, that's where you can really notice. It's like actually stop and smell the roses.
And I bet there's restaurants. I mean, I've lived here. I'm 51 years old. There's probably still restaurants within 10 miles of me that I've never been here, and I've never left. So just explore restaurants, explore churches, explore Explore. Go to your local library.
Yeah.
You're probably
There
like,
you
oh my gosh, I will never
Joel will
do
meet
that.
you there. Yeah.
I would.
Direct you
I
where
do
to
like
go.
libraries.
Yeah, exactly. Innovation at Drexel means
Change.
yeah. And how about a personal motto or mantra?
I'll leave you with this. Currently, I'm like addicted to Salisbury Hill. Probably have listened to it 50 times in the last 2 days.
All right, that's great.
Go
Hey,
listen to
pretty
little
fun.
Peter
Go
Gabriel,
listen.
Salisbury Hill.
For
Yeah.
sure, that's awesome. Well,
You
that's
got some songs here, right?
yeah, for sure. Well, that should be our next our tone to enter in, right?
Maybe.
That's
yeah.
great.
I don't know. Then I'll have a different song, right?
Yeah. And anything on your billboard that has changed recently, or should we go with that? Famous
On my billboard recently. Let's just end with that. I think we're good.
Yeah, beautiful.
I love it.
That's a wrap on 132.
All right. 132. Peace. Love you all. Happy spring.